I never thought I'd set foot in this cursed forest again. Behind me, the last rays of the setting sun bled out over the distant hills, casting everything in an ominous crimson glow. Here, on the crumbling path into the dark wood, I feel like I'm stepping into a trap of shadows. My heart hammers in my chest as I tighten the straps of the basket on my arm. It contains the few supplies I dared to bring: bread, cheese, and a bottle of herbal wine Gran always liked. It's the same basket I carried as a child when I used to visit her. Ironically, the same basket that felt so heavy after I lost her. I lift my chin and push the hood of my dark cloak forward, the blood-red edge catching the dying light. They warned me never to return. Villagers whispered that the trees themselves were hungry in these woods, that they breathe and remember. On the very night Gran died here, a wolf howled into the darkness like a curse. But wolves are not real here. At least not what the old stories call wolves. Not anymore. Yet I am here. I walk slowly into the wood, drawn by a force I can't name. Gran's cottage lies deeper in the forest, and so does the truth that's haunted me for years. The crunch of dead leaves underfoot seems unnaturally loud. Every nerve in my body cries out to turn back. I walk on anyway, into the gathering gloom. The trees close in around me, gnarled limbs draped with hanging moss. Moonlight is scarce beneath this ancient canopy. The forest floor is a tangle of roots and fallen leaves that sponge the sound of my boots. The farther I go, the heavier the silence. Then, from somewhere deep among the black trunks, a cry pierces the stillness. A wolf's howl, distant and hollow. I freeze. The sound curdles the air like cold water in a wine glass. My mouth goes dry and I lick my lips, hoping I wasn't heard. My pulse spikes. Wolves should not roam this close to the village anymore. Before tonight, I believed them gone from these parts. Yet that cry, it sends an icy dread crawling up my spine. I light the lantern hanging from my belt, its flickering flames small and fragile. The shadows dance. Each oak and birch becomes a towering phantom. The underbrush rustles. Did something move in the corner of my eye? Or was it just a trick of the flame? I hold my breath, and then a twig snaps somewhere to the right of me. Closer this time. A slow, careful crack. Like something is stepping lightly. Watching. Who's there? I murmur, voice caught in my throat. The echo answers with silence. No breeze. No animal sound besides the distant, unnatural howling. The lantern's flame guttering makes the trees' faces quiver. My heartbeat thunders. Every shadow feels alive. For a moment, I almost expect to see Gran step out from behind a tree. But instead, there is nothing but darkness. Shaking, I move on, forcing my legs to obey. The path is still winding deeper and deeper. I know I've lost any sense of direction by the moss on the trees. Every now and then, a sinewy root trips me up. I curse quietly. I cannot afford to break an ankle out here. Still, every step forward is a victory over my own fear. I remind myself of why I came at all. Answers, closure, perhaps a chance to finally speak with Gran again. At length, the howl sounds again, louder now, seemingly all around me. It is not a single wolf. It is as though a pack of them all at once sings the forest's song. The sound resonates in my chest. I sway, the night grows colder and the flame in my lantern sputters as if a breath passes through. Something is very wrong here. I am not alone and this is no ordinary threat.
I grip a branch like a club in my spare hand and whisper a trembling prayer.
Gran used to say that courage is just the stubborn voice that keeps a candle flame alive in darkness. She believed it anyway. I try to believe it now. Step by steady step, I press further toward that unknown howl, determined to find the cottage and the truth it hides. Eventually, just as I'm doubting the path could lead anywhere good, the forest opens into a tiny clearing. At its centre stands the decaying silhouette of Gran's cottage. Memories crowd my mind. The scent of rosemary and warm bread, the gentle glow of lamplight through embroidered curtains. Now, it is suffocating in darkness. Its roof is mostly caved in, a jagged hole framing the stars above. The wooden walls are blackened, charred at the edges like some terrible fire raged through here long ago. Yet despite the ruin, the place still feels alive to me, as if it simply held its breath, waiting. I carefully step inside through the broken door, and the floor groans beneath me. Inside, nothing stirs but the dust. Dust everywhere, like a shroud draped over every surface. My lantern's light dances across the fragments of Gran's life. A spinning wheel overturned, shards of porcelain scattered on the floor, lichen creeping into corners. I catch sight of a rocking chair, its seat slumped as though someone fell from it. Painting lies shattered, colours bleeding into the splinters of frame. Everything is frozen in the moment of violence. Grandmother? The word hisses from my lips, but the cottage answers only with a sigh as the wind shakes its broken window panes. I step through the kitchen area, where a worn herb bundle still hangs from a beam. The familiar smell of lavender and sage stirs something inside me, a memory, or maybe a trick of the mind. My basket, still on my arm, feels suddenly too heavy with nothing to show for it. Suddenly, I see it. A small scrap of cloth caught on a nail by the doorway. It's the faded red ribbon I buried in the yard as a child, the one Gran used to tie on the apple tree outside. My breath catches. I tug it free, fingers trembling. The ribbon's colour is dull with age and ash, but its meaning is clear. It was a warning, a marker I made long ago, and somehow it's as if it bled dark into the wood itself. I step out into the night air. The moon hangs high through the open skylight of the cottage's roof. And in its cold light I see the orchard, rows of gnarled apple trees. Their branches creak as though whispering secrets. The earth is cold and damp. Dew glitters on fallen leaves. A stray breeze lifts a pile of ash and blackens splinters from the cottage threshold. It swirls around my feet. I clutch the scrap of ribbon to my chest. Knees weak. The scent of charred wood still hangs in the air, the final breath of something consumed by fire. I feel watched. The hairs on my arms prick up. Lantern in hand, I step toward the nearest apple tree. This one was Gran's favourite. I remember the rough bark I used to climb on, and her gift of that red ribbon to call it mine. Now its trunk is scarred and black. A crimson smear stains the ground beneath it, dark as blood. My breath catches. The stain looks almost fresh, as if something oozed the colour onto the soil. I kneel to touch it, but when my fingers brush the ground, it feels sticky and damp. I flinch, as a whisper curls around my ear. Unmistakably, a woman's voice. Soft and familiar. Red, my child. The lantern sputters. The hair at the nape of my neck stands on end. I spin around to find the source. The orchard is silent. Only the trees murmur. Moonlight slants through the broken roof, casting my shadow long and warped. For a heartbeat, I think I see movement by the old toolshed. A silhouette hunched at the workbench, blurred and grey. Then it vanishes. No, it cannot have been real. Not after all that has happened. A knot forms in my stomach as I realize I'm standing in enormous footprints, dug deep into the soft earth. Huge paw prints, unlike any human or bear, leading away from the cottage, toward the edge of the dark forest. Instinct screams at me to run, but curiosity pins me in place. The voice returns, gentler, more urgent. Child, come to me. It sounds like Gran, and yet it carries a rasp of hunger. I know Gran can't speak from beyond the grave, but the voice reaches into my mind as if it could. My skin crawls. Lantern shaking, I follow the footprints a few steps. Forcing myself deeper, I drop the branch I've been holding and back away. The eyes hold still, the creature watching, too steady to be wind-blown leaves. Then, something slips between the trees, on all fours. A massive silhouette, larger than a wolf by far, low to the ground and sinewy. Smoke curls from its muzzle as it exhales. It is a wolf, but unlike any I have seen. Its fur is matted with ash and moss, and its eyes burn with a sickly gold. For a second, our eyes lock. My breath catches. It remembers me. And in that stare, I understand something monstrous. This is no ordinary wolf. Its jaws stretch into a feral grin, and for a fleeting moment, it seems satisfied. I am terrified beyond reason. My voice fails, my legs move on their own. I turn and run, stumbling between trees. The path I came is lost in the darkness. Branches claw at my face and tear at my cloak. Behind me, a feral cry rises, a wolf's howl twisted into a ragged snarl. Something crashes through the underbrush at my heels, huge paws striking the earth, too fast to place. I trip over a root and fall hard onto one arm, twisting a knee. The lantern flies from my hand and shatters on a rock. Darkness blooms around me, except for the pale moonlight filtering through the canopy. I hear it then. Heavy, sloshing footsteps, distant but close enough to echo through the grove. The golden eyes reappear between two trunks, closer this time. The thing is coming. It bounds toward me with a terrible grace. I scramble backward, pain flaring in my leg. The creature's jaw snaps open, revealing blood-flecked teeth and pale gums. As it leaps, I raise my hand, searching for anything to defend myself. My fingers clasp around the broken wood of my basket. I pull it apart as best I can, improvising a club. For an instant, I catch a glimpse of a snarling face that is neither fully wolf nor human. And in its eyes, I swear, I see Gran's face twisted in pain and hunger. The creature's form lunges, and darkness consumes me. I cannot tell how long I was out. The next time I see light,
It is a thin shaft of dawn sneaking through the trees. My head throbs like a war drum. I am lying on cold earth, one arm over my eyes to shield them from the pale sky. The massacre of my own shelter surrounds me. Splinters of wood from the door, the shattered lantern glass, and among it all, an odd stillness. I sit up slowly, every muscle aching. For a moment, I think I am back in the cottage, but then I realise I've stumbled out of it entirely. I'm half-wounded, mud on my hands and knees. The orchard is quiet, eerily so in daylight, only birdsong flutters between broken branches. I look around, hoping for sanity. The basket lies nearby, broken but intact enough to hold something. I'm not sure how I crawled this far, but somehow I managed to escape the wolf's jaws. I feel a trickle of blood on my side, where a sliver of wood must have nicked me. Pain is everywhere. Somehow, I'm alive. Shivering, I lift my shattered lantern and blow on its remaining flame. But it's not the flicker of light that grabs my attention. A nearby spring gurgles softly. I crawl toward it, desperate to see my face. At the water's edge, I stare in confusion at my reflection. At first, I think it's Gran's, her kindly face, lined with love and sage wisdom. But the eyes staring back are not warm or human. They are golden, the same sickly glow I saw in the wolf's gaze. My hair, once chestnut, seems strangely pale in the morning light. I reach up with a shaking hand, and my fingertips brush at my jawline, tracing unfamiliar sharpness at my gums. My nails are too long, too dark, tapering to points. When I part my lips, I taste copper and fear. My reflection winks at me mockingly, and as I do, I feel it. A hunger I have never known. The realization burns through me, horrifying and undeniable. I touch my chest and feel the steady thrum of something strong and ancient. I am not merely red of the village anymore. Something else is inside me now. Something ancient, something hungry. It remembers me, yes. I know now what that meant. And I remember too what the voice promised. I have been returned to this forest, but I may never leave it again.